I want to talk to you about the importance of taking notes. In my notebooks, I paste glue a lot of things inside a notebook. The more important part of the notebook is keeping track of the work that you do. So in my notebooks, I put a table of contents in the front. I'll go through the notebook, I number every other page, like 2, 4, 6, 8. And then I'll go into the front of the notebook and the first few pages, I'll number all the lines 2, 4, 6, 8. And then when I write in a notebook something on a page, then I'll go to the front of the notebook and then just say what's on that page and I'll put a date on it. And so when I take notes, I'll date every page and I'll write down what the thing is going on. So I have this vast collection of notebooks. Then when I went to Digital Domain and I worked on Oh Brother in my first day at Digital Domain, and then we went into dailies, and I was hearing all these words that I'd never heard before. Plus, we're working at a much higher resolution than television. Like the white levels in film are much different than the white levels in television and black levels, and so those are things that I had to learn about. Plus, the whole level of expertise there. So I'd been using Houdini for a couple of years, and I'd been doing 3D for many years. And when I got to Digital Domain, I felt like I was an absolute dummy, didn't know anything, and I didn't deserve to be there because these guys were so smart. And I was wondering why these guys were so smart. And it turned out that these guys were so smart because they were sharing information with each other and they were helping each other. And so they were spiraling up, and as one gets better, another person gets better, and another person gets better because they're all helping each other. So there was something definitely different at Digital Domain, and all this information. I went out and I got a notebook, and I got a notebook that looks exactly like my high school science teacher had us use, Mr. Schaefer. These little kind of blue covered scientific notebooks that had pages. The pages were already numbered. And so my first film at Digital Domain was Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And so I got one of those scientific notebooks just like I had in high school, and started writing down names of people that learned, and a lot of it was vocabulary. I was hearing all these terms I'd never heard before, so I'd write down the terminology in my notebook and then go back and look it up later. And then besides my work notes of what I was supposed to do or what I was supposed to change. And then as I went from Oh Brother, then I returned to DD, out the door, back in the door to work on X-Men, first X-Men movie, and then the Sony for Castaway and Harry Potter, and back to DD for Time Machine, and then I went to Savannah, Georgia to teach. All of that time I was taking notes in notebooks. And so I have notebooks for each of those films that I worked on. And just keeping my notes is a really valuable way of me remembering what I did when I was working on things. And so, how did I do something? What was I supposed to do? So, for long term, like I have a collection of the Harry Potter brooms, like how I made the brooms on Harry Potter, and I worked on the hair simulation team of me and Daniel LaChapelle, plus Darren Lurie, who set up the pipeline for that. And so I got hair simulation information in my notebooks. So I can look back to see how I did that. So for on Harry Potter, I wrote my own wedging tool in Maya. Uh, Sony offered to give us a Perl programming class so we could go take programming. I took this Perl class. And then when I started working on Harry Potter, I had to do all these hair simulations. And you're trying to find out what the best settings are for a particular character going at a particular speed, whatever, so that the hair wouldn't either go out of control or look too dull. And so I ended up writing my own wedging tool that would go between values. And then I wrote a Perl script that generated mel commands. And so my Perl program made the wedge tools for the mel command. So in my notebook, I have how I learned to write. I have my notes from my Perl class and then probably example outputs of the output that this Perl program spit out. And so I can look back on that and says, "Well, how did I do that?" And so I would do it differently now, I'm sure, but, it can be a good clue. It's a good history reminder.